All right, so the graph g of x was obtained by reflecting f of x about the x-axis. So g of x, if it's reflecting, it's going to have a negative. And so when you graph that, it's starting at 0, 0, because you're not shifting left, right, up, down any. And then your slope is going to be negative. So you're going to go down 1 over 1. And down 1 over 1. So your v is going to look like this. So domain and range of g, the one that I transformed. Remember, domain on these guys always going to be negative infinity to infinity. The range, though, you are going down to infinity, and you're going up to 0. All right, you have to do down first, then up. All right, so same thing. Remember your parent function from the other page. Looks like that. Your domain, left, right forever, left forever, right forever. And then your range on this one went down to 0 and up to infinity. So these guys look really similar, but if you notice, your range was flipped just like your graph was flipped. And so that's what I'm going to write. So range was flipped because it's being reflected. Okay, so if I were you, pause the video, do your 7 and 8. All right, now before I move on to some of these solving ones, I want you to remember that all of these graphing ones, if you struggle graphing by hand, you can always graph in the calculator. But you have to know how to graph in the calculator. So the way you get your absolute value bars in your calculator is you hit math, arrow over to num, and hit enter. So a lot of those things that I just did, you can kind of figure out a way to get the answer by using the calculator. Okay, and kind of the same thing on this next part. It says solve. All right, I'm going to do one of these guys by hand, and I'm going to do one in the calculator. Or maybe I'll just do it both ways. I don't know. We'll see. All right. When you're solving absolute value equations by hand, you have to first get the absolute value by itself. So I'm going to minus 1 on both sides first. So I get 4 minus 2. I'm going to change that to an x equals 10. I don't like writing Q's. Once your absolute value is all by itself, we're going to write this as two equations. We're going to write 4 minus 2x equals 10 and 4 minus 2x equals negative 10. And you're going to solve both those out. Minus 4, negative 2x equals 6. Divide by negative 2, divide by negative 2, x equals negative 3. That's one of your answers. You're going to do the same steps on the other side, but you'll get different numbers because of the sign change. So we're still going to minus 4. So negative 10 minus 4 is going to be negative 14. And then we're still going to divide by negative 2. And so that's going to give you 7. All right, so let's say you don't like solving by hand. You're like, oh, I don't like that. That's a lot of work. You can do this in the calculator. All right, so I'm going to take my original guy, and I'm going to type this in. So I'm going to go math, arrow over to num, hit enter, 4 minus 2x, and then plus 1 on the outside. The other side of your equal sign is 11. And then you're going to hit graph. So if you notice, and this is the only downside of the calculator, sometimes you're going to have to zoom out. All right, my little line here, it only goes up to 10. So I'm going to zoom out. So I'm going to hit zoom. and you see where it says zoom out there? Oops. Number 3, zoom out. And then you have to actually hit enter to zoom out. You see my fingers on enter? You have to actually hit enter, and then it will zoom out for you. All right, and then you can see both your lines. So once you can see both your lines, okay, we are going to go second, trace, intersect. You got to move your spider to one of your intersects and then enter 3 times. Enter.